while staying trusted partners. And of course, there's this question which everyone secretly wants answers to. Can we expect 100% servicing, 70% accuracy, at 50% the cost? And if not, what trade-offs are fair? That's exactly why we are all here today, to have an honest, no-nonsense conversation, not clients versus agencies, but a room full of smart people trying to navigate these paradoxes together. Please join me in welcoming our panelists for today, who bring with them both the joys and dilemmas of insights in this age of technology. Oslando Desouza, Vice President, Consumer Insight, Hindustan Unilever. After many years of leading category and business group consumer insight teams across personal care, laundry, home care, and foods across Asia and Europe, deodorants in Manila and Singapore, foods in Germany, skincare and laundry in London, fabric care globally, it's been a homecoming for him, returning to India in January 24 for an enterprise cross-country role. Sharmila Das, Chairwoman, Purple Audacity, and the winner of Insights Legend 2023 award by ASMAR and Insights 250. With 40 years of being a researcher, engaged with 100 plus clients, 17 years of starting a method-neutral insights and strategy consultancy, 6 cycles of evolution that her organization has already completed. And despite these numbers, she is known for her qualitative prowess. Soumya Mohanty-is Managing Director, Chief Client and Solution Officer for Kantar. She brings with her over 2 years of experience in market research and consumer behavior across sectors. Her experience spans 3 areas: data analytics, consumer insights, building a resilient and commercially strong business, and creating high-performing teams. Over the years, Soumya has worked across leading companies like Kantar, Nielsen, and Ipsos. An economics honors graduate from Delhi University, she is an alumnus of Indian Institute of Mass Communication. Siddharth Nangia is the co-founder of Smytten, India's largest product discovery and trial platform, and Smytten Pulse, an AI-powered consumer insights and research solution. With over 2 decades of experience in FMCG and deep expertise in market dynamics, Siddharth is dedicated to transforming how brands understand and engage with their audiences. Dixit Chanana, Managing Director, Toluna, India. With more than 2 decades in consumer research, Dixit Chanana leads Toluna, India with a focus on expansion, innovation, and team collaboration. His high energy and passion for building cross-functional teams have made him a catalyst for consistent business transformation. Over the course of his career, he has led substantial work across qualitative and quantitative research, touchpoint audits, and political polling, including opinion and exit polls. Subhranshu Rout, Head Consumer Insights and Intelligence, Bharti Airtel Limited. Subhranshu has 30 plus years of rich consumer insights and behavior analysis experience across FMCG and mobility industries. His current focus is using behavioral sciences and economics principles along with cognitive psychology to understand the deep human beliefs and hence plan nudges to initiate behavior. In his earlier roles, he has headed the consumer insights discipline in GSK Consumer Healthcare, Motorola Mobility India, and Airtel Limited, besides leading regional and global insights roles in Hindustan Unilever Limited. The panel will be moderated by Chandan Mukherji, Director and Executive Vice President, Strategy, Marketing and Communication at Nestlé India, with an extensive leadership role spanning strategy, brand building, communication, digital insights and innovation. Chandan brings a wealth of experience from his global role at Nestlé and his previous work with Unilever. I'm wide awake and buzzing, and my energy is contagious. So I can count on you to match this energy. Let's shake off that post-lunch haze and dive straight in. Over to you, Chandan.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Very happy to be here on this sort of very exciting topic on the joys and dilemmas of insight in the era of technology. Happy to have this very power-packed and insight-rich panel over here, and I hope we sort of, leave you with a few thoughts of what we think about this era. So, I think a lot has been said about the joys and dilemmas of insight in the era of technology. Technology is all around us. I think this entire seminar is a very good sort of way to showcase different aspects of technology, about AI, about the, all the different uses that we can do or we can use technology in while unpeeling consumer insights, while really understanding what's going on around us, what's really happening insofar as behavior is concerned and so on. I do hear a little bit of echo. Is that okay? Okay. So maybe I'll just sort of, turn into the panel over here. Of course, there is a lot of joys and dilemmas, and it's really about, how do you balance the joys, dilemmas? How do you trade off between one and the other? How do you look at data versus insight? How do you look at very high speed versus more considered? How do you look at noise versus substance? How do you look at, insight versus data itself? Because data is not insight, Data can lead to insight, data can help us get to insight, but data is not insight. So obviously in this world, Oz, maybe I start with you. What are your reflections, what are you seeing around in terms of some of the joys and dilemmas, and how are you really sort of, looking at how do you balance and what do you derive out of this?
Thanks, Chandan. So, yesterday we had a very nice summary by Vijay of all the themes. How he did it without notes, I don't know. Maybe AI will help us figure that out. But he started off saying that we should embrace AI for efficiency and effectiveness, right? And literally using 3 E's. So I want to give you maybe 2 more E's. So I think focusing on the topic of the joy, I think this technology right now could be very enjoyable and very exploratory in the way we approach it. And hardly anybody talks about this through joy. A lot of people talk about efficiency and effectiveness, but I think it can be very enjoyable. I was talking to Roos and I think Satish Belani sir in the audience. When I started as a researcher, before the fieldwork came in, we had to take this analysis sheet and go to the analysis team with all our cross tabs. And I used to go with a lot of cross tabs. And there was a lady called Tanaz there. And when I reached with my many cross tabs, she would give me this look. If looks could kill, I would have been dead on the floor of the analytics department. But imagine now when you have endless possibilities in terms of analysis that you can do. What a joy it could be if you really explore that. The second learning for me, especially with AI, but with all technology, is that we think that AI is really good at analysis, with numbers. But I find it's far better with language than it is with numbers. So it gives you a chance to really explore. Many years ago, if you told a qualitative researcher that you need to do this online, they would look at you as though you're asking for one of my kidneys, right? It would be abhorrent. But then along comes COVID and everything goes online. And is it better than offline? Perhaps not. And there are a lot of hybrid pros and cons to it. But we've embraced the technology because we had to. So I would say the first thing, which is the joy part for me, is really enjoyable, exploratory approach to this, to learn. Is it all about joy? No, there's also a lot of dilemmas. I think a couple of dilemmas, I would give you 2 more E's for that. And I would say ethical inquiry. I think the ethics of it is really important. And we have to learn and put in some guardrails. For example, there's this whole aspect of synthetic data. And the question is, you'd never go in with 100% synthetic data, but you'd start with 20%. And you'd reach a point where we think, how much of the sample is now completely computer insight and not consumer insight? Because we've taken all the people out of it. But I think we've got to wrestle with the dilemma and look at how we could learn, and a hybrid approach would definitely work. We do a lot of consumer connects at HUL, as you know, from your time there. And now we've started to use AI to sort of summarize some of them. And we do know there are dilemmas in that. I found in one of the reports that there was a very interesting quote about Dove. So I said, listen, we need to expand this code. Can you just find some more language around it? And we found that code was actually even missing. So the AI obviously hallucinated and put in some codes. But the fact is that, the fact that AI now has become so conversational allows you to have a discussion with it and bring in a nuance that wasn't there. So I think we've got to work with the dilemmas to really get what we need. And we've done this before. We've done this before. I think the market research agents industry has always wrestled with technology. We've got from, I believe the first time, we did research with pen and paper and moved to CATI and CAPI and now CASI. There must have been apprehensions. But we sort of learned and we overcame them. So I think we can do the same with technology today. I can imagine somebody looking at a pile of interviews, all handwritten, and looking at his interviewer team and thinking, did this guy actually meet consumers or did he fill it under the tree, right? And now we have analysis techniques can tell you if that has happened or not. And we had all this right-hand rule and segmented starting points. So as an industry, we found ways to work around this. So we should embrace it. We should be honest about the dilemmas. We should be honest about the ethical questions. And I think as an industry, we will move forward, 3 steps ahead into the future.
Super, super. Thank you, Oz. That was interesting in terms of how we could move 3 steps into the future. Sharmila, what is your sort of, take, having seen many aspects of insights, working with so many different clients, different perspectives? Where do you see the joy and the dilemma, and how are you really looking at it?
Thanks for asking me, Chandan. I turned 62 this year. And if anybody had told me that at this age, I will be so excited about the industry that I have spent 40 years in, I perhaps would not have believed it. But I am so excited, but at the same time, uneasy also. Now, you are asking about the joys and dilemmas of being in market research in the current situation. I would actually focus on 2 aspects. In different combinations, these aspects could turn into being joy, and in another combination, they can turn into becoming the greatest dilemmas that we can face. These 2 aspects are agile, and the second one is technology. Okay? So let's start with the dilemmas first. Let's start with agile first. Our industry has unfortunately done a complete, pardon me for using the word, but complete bastardization of the word agile. In its truest form, agile used to mean flexible and learning. So there was a lot of, iteration and continuous learning. And, yes, quick was part of it, but it was more on flexibility. We have started turning agile equal to immediate. So it is, agile is, you should have done it yesterday, and please don't ask too many questions about why you are being asked to do it yesterday, okay? That is really not agile. Agile came from the software world, okay? And that is where the meaning had been. We have taken it in a different kind of an angle, and that is with combination of technology is going to become one of the greatest dilemmas. Is agile therefore going to turn into, with technology, from proposal to insight in 15 minutes? What is going to be the future of this kind of an inciting in future? A lot of us already know that AI, which is, predominantly there as part of technology, is still based on what was in the past. Most of the times our insights are about what is currently applicable and what is going to be there in future. there is huge development which is happening. LLM, AI, it is, growing by leaps and bounds. But can it be the only thing? That is where the dilemma is. Another dilemma, and I think that is also because I have been a qualitative researcher for so many years. Another dilemma is about, are we going to lose connections? So many people, both from the client side and from the organizations I have worked in, are my greatest friends. There have been clients who have supported us even when projects have not gone off so well. Okay? There are those connections which I have formed while doing FGD as, in rural areas with my field partners and doing a lot of jugaad to ensure that the fieldwork was being done. Those are like very valuable connections in my life. So the dilemma is that with this combination of agile and technology, am I going to really lose out on that connection? Is it going to push me into something which is going to be very, dehuman, to say it, okay? Now comes technology. Technology is wonderful. It is giving us a, absolutely unparalleled opportunity to do quick kind of sorting, analysis, sharpening our thoughts, helping us validate our frameworks, giving us greater nuances into our framework. All of that is happening. But then, can dashboards ever become insight? Will technology be able to read silences, sarcasm, pauses? Will technology ever know why in rural Odisha a question was met with absolute silence? Those are the kind of human intelligence insights which are necessary going forward. And therefore, that is another dilemma, that are we going to lose out completely on the combination of human insight by our, continuous kind of weighing towards agile and technology. But all is not lost, guys. If you thought that there is no joy that I am getting, then that will be wrong. There is this huge joy. I think Rituparna said that we are like entering a candy store. And that is exactly the rapidness with which everything is evolving. There is something, the opportunity to fast fail, try out something. If it is not working out, go to the next level with that. All of that is like, it is like a rush of energy currently. And with that comes the entire angle that if agile and technology can be used to create efficiency, obviously, because of technology, but greater than that, enhancement of quality. Because that technology, in a very agile manner, can help me identify the gaps in my, analysis. It can help me give certain stories which I might have overlooked in my analysis. So therefore, it is such a great partner for enhancement of quality. So why just keep harping on efficiency? It should be enhancement. Yeah? And then continuing with the form of joy as a combination of agile and technology, there comes the entire excitement that as a leader you can bring in your very young team. There have been papers on Gen Z and what they are seeking from their profession. if you are able to give that combination, train them properly, then yes, that's a challenge also, but the kind of joy it can give is again going to be unparalleled. I'm going to close with just reference of the video that some of you must have seen. It is Jerry Seinfeld on The Tonight Show, who was actually talking and joking about AI. So Jerry's point was that originally we had real intelligence, but then it was not very useful. So we invented a fake one. And now we are, intelligent enough to develop AI. We are, we are really dumb enough to need AI, and we are stupid enough to continuously wonder if we did the right thing by creating AI. Yeah? So therefore, according to me, AI gives me the chance to actually partner it to do what I can do best, which is my creativity, which is my curiosity, which is my ability to ask the right questions. So we all know why tech is tech. Let's not forget why we are humans. That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Sharmila. So that was a good combination of how do you enhance things using AI, how could you partner, how could you have AI as an ally, but human is still at the core, and your question is really, are we going to really lose the connection if we are going to use all this? Soumya, from your lens, little more kind of quantitative lens into this world of technology, insights, how do you really look at the joys and dilemmas, the fast versus the slow, the absolutely finite versus, 70% right, but still there, can take a decision through it. Where are you in this scale?
Sure, thanks Chandan for asking me, and I'm sorry the picture doesn't tally the person sitting in front. I just have a little more hair, wrong gender, slightly shorter, but I don't think the AI had enough time to change the picture, so that's fine. Sharmila, it can read sarcasm very soon. Don't worry about that. The way I see it, there are two parts to it. But one is, what is it doing to our industry? But I think there's a bigger issue that keeps me awake at night. And I'll come to the joy and the dilemma in that light. So the joy, of course, is personally, I'm a very curious person. I love experimenting. And I've been blown apart by what generative AI can do. Kantar, we have an arrangement with Microsoft, and we use Copilot quite a lot. We have a lot of AI solutions. I have also used GPT, Perplexity, and I've tried to see the differences. I've also asked Copilot to tell me the differences between the three of them. So I'm a very, very heavy user of AI and automation and technology. What worries me, and I'll come to the dilemma first. The joy is easy. The dilemma is the problem. What worries me is this is generative AI, and I don't want to sound like a Luddite, because I know if I say, I know everybody will say new jobs will be created, there'll be augmentation of intelligence, augmentation of jobs, but generative AI is very different from mechanization or industrialization that we saw in the past. That was truly enhancing, reducing manual labor and enhancing the effort that man could not make to that degree. But generative AI, and it is generating capacity to generate more and more and more. Each time I go and I ask it to, for example, critique my LinkedIn posts, it just comes up with something completely different. And sometimes I wonder if it's better than me in doing that, and I'm being very honest. Now, is this a joy or is this a dilemma? I don't know. So I'm just putting that on the table. It is doing a better job than I am doing in many of the ways in which I express myself, especially on language. As far as numbers are concerned, it will get there. Today, it doesn't read. It depends on what you're using. Some of them don't read numbers too well. But if you know how to train it, if you know how to prompt it, it's going to start reading numbers also very well. Because I was telling Abhinav, I'm taking a slight digression, I was telling him that when GST came out, the first thing I did, because obviously I want more money from all of you, the clients here. So I tried to understand what is the impact of GST on the portfolio of our key clients, Unilever, Nestlé, and it did some analysis for me. And it hallucinated quite a lot, because it went and picked up lots of different things from even POVs and stuff. But if you keep querying it, if you keep asking it to give you the sources, it arrived at a very good place in terms of what is the real impact of it. So the dilemma for me was, this would have taken me like 6 or 7 days to do. I would have had to search. I would have had to, put some people to do it. First is I would have had to put some people. I'm doing it myself. I would have had to search. This is doing it for me. So, I mean, it's an obvious dilemma. It's an obvious dilemma on what this is going to mean for young people coming out into our industry, into every industry. What are we going to give them as meaningful work to do? I fully appreciate it will take away manual effort. I fully appreciate the analysis is going to be faster. I fully appreciate that it will give us better, maybe quality, it'll do the quality checks. But what happens to those 5,000 people who are today doing interviews every day, or more than that, I think Kantar itself has more than that. What happens to them? What happens to those QC people who check that? What happens? So if you personally ask me, honestly, it worries me. It worries me that we have not thought through what does it imply for the economy, what does it imply for jobs, what does it imply for the bigger things which impacts everybody in this room. Now, coming specifically to our industry, I just feel we should be very clear on the use case for which we use technology or AI. If the use case, if you want to reduce cost, I'm going to be brutally honest, because that's most of the time why we use it. If you want to reduce cost, let's be clear, I want to reduce cost. Now, is AI the solution to it? Is better automation the solution to it? Is just finding different ways of doing a solution to it? We can figure it out. If you want something faster, again, let's be clear on the use case. Because if I take something like synthetic, and very valid point was made, at what point does the synthetic actually reflect the real? What is that threshold? Because if you ask, I mean, I can create synthetic data for you right now using any of these tools that are available. But is it reflecting the reality or not? So what is that right blend of synthetic and human? Are we thinking about that? There's a lot of experimentation. There is tons of experimentation, tons of paper. But when it comes to scaling it up, when it comes to being able to confidently say what this is giving me is what the reality is, I really think we need to pause and think about it. And this is not because I don't want to sound like somebody who is like doing doomsday on AI or tech. No, not at all. I think, as I said, this has come. This is not going away. It will become better. It will become much faster, much better, much sharper than we can even imagine. The point is, how do we want to use it? For what do we want to use it? If we have that clarity, I think we will do a much better job of doing it. And I would really urge everybody, since I have got this opportunity to be on this stage with this front of this audience, a lot of you are clients, but a lot of you are young people, I think, from the industry. You can't shy away from it. Try to get on top of it. Try to understand it, but try to educate yourself about it. The buzz is very easy. The faff is very easy. You can just read up and speak, drop words. That's much easier. But if you just go deeper and you try to understand it, there are things that will, you will be able to probably use it in the right way. I want to end by one example I'll give you. Ethics worries me a lot. It worries me a lot from where it is picking up the data. It also worries me a lot on how we are going to protect data. Why do clients come to us? So, Chandan, you can use your AI on your internal data, right? That's protected, I'm assuming. But when you come to an agency, why do you come to an agency? Because I understand, I do cross-category work. I work with every client. So in that sense, I'm able to give you advice from a neutral point of view. That's how I see it. Now, I'm very worried about data protection, therefore. I'm very worried about what is the AI getting trained on. I'm very worried about maintaining that, what I think agencies always do. What do we work on? We work on we collect information for you. That is what custom research is supposed to be. We go and collect information that is specific to you, specific to Unilever, specific to P&G or whoever. And that is your competitive advantage in the market, that data and that insight. My mind can create frameworks around it, but I don't want an LLM. When an LLM starts creating frameworks around it, it's not me. You should be worried. It doesn't matter to me as much, but you should be worried that are you losing your competitive advantage if I'm going to create information, and it's a question also to all the publishers and all the people who sit on the big data. If you are using that combined information to create insight, where is the competitive advantage in that insight? It's a question on the table, and I leave it there. But extremely exciting time. If you are a curious person, if you want to learn, you want to experiment, extremely interesting time. So if I've gone a little overboard on the dilemmas, please pardon me. I have a young son. I am worried about what he's going to do in future. So that it just comes from there. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Soumya. You know, a lot of what you said talks a lot about the use cases. What exactly are you looking for? Everybody is going to use the same. And this morning, you know, I was actually in a meeting with a bunch of influencer folks. And you know, nowadays in the marketing world, there's a lot of buzz about creators and influencers. And I was just challenging some agency partners saying that all of you are using the same influencers for the same brands. So now, you know, the same influencer is coming on brand A, brand B, brand C. What is really the advantage, or what does that influencer bring in on the table? And you're asking a similar thing, that everybody uses the same tools. Of course, the use case, but then if you all do the same, where would really competitive advantage come from? And over to you, Siddharth. I mean, you coming from a technology-driven mindset and leveraging technology, obviously trying to unpeel insights. How do you look at this in terms of the joys and dilemmas? And what would you think is the best way to kind of make use of it and leverage it in the best possible way?
Sure, Chandan. Thanks. The first thing, Chandan, is the technology in front of me is telling me the time left is only 10 minutes. The dilemma I'm facing is, do I take panga with Mitali or with the two folks sitting next to me? Yeah? Huh? Do I give them a chance or don't give them a chance? Yeah? Either you switch it off, guys.
Well, now that we are more on the technology side, be sharper.
Yeah, okay. I'll be sharp if that is the case. That is the case. Now coming to what I see as the job. See, when we started Smytten, I'll be very candid, I'm saying this for the first time. And as you guys, most of you know by now, with all the sponsorships we did, is that we've started as a discovery trial platform for 7 years and got into research 3 years back. We started work on it 4 years back. The idea was to prioritize this completely. It was a no-touch research. That's what we started off with as an aim to do. Very soon we realized that's going to be impossible in the current scheme of things. As she's rightly saying, over a period of time we don't know, but that's where we stand out today. What gives joy to all of us in the team even today, with coming from a technology background, is first the abundance of data, very clearly on it. Agility, we spoke enough so far on that. Actionability, whatever we do, and I'll give you small examples of each of them, won't take much of a time for any of them to talk about. So today we work with clients wherein they say, okay, if the big campaigns are coming up now and for Diwali stuff, right? And you being in marketing, right? So you don't know exactly what will work, what will not work. You have a great idea about it. Today we are running campaigns on saying, okay, do all the pricing discounts right now. Look at what consumer is intending to buy in the future. And we don't, actually they're going to buy the product. They are pre-booking the products, right? So you know this is going to change. So that is, the abundance of data I'm getting all across from the country is helping me to get that part. The second part is the agility. Agility is, we all know it, everything is happening from morning till evening, what ads are going live in the evening. What it's doing is, it is bringing a lot of efficiency in the system, reducing cost all across. That was the aim of technology, according to me, to do. Actionability to talk about is, if anything, for example, one of the things we are doing for a very small guy, he came to us and said that when it rains, and I know something Nestlé had done, Domino's had done, when it rains, he want a message to go out to all his clients, and so that he can deliver the product to them immediately after that. So it is the weather forecast that converts into the client coming back in. All of this, if this cannot give us joy, what can give us joy otherwise? It is converting into business, converting into other things as well along with that. But at the same, the dilemma is for us, while we build all of this, it has a cost attached to it. I don't know, it was purposeful to have a sitting arrangement like this, while 4 of us are sitting at center and 2 brands all of you at the we are sandwich, so which means getting money out of it is always a challenge. So first of all is, bhaiya paisa lagta hai banane ko. But as somebody, I think Ritu said earlier, right? 100% accuracy, 50% of cost. Kaise? So that's the first point to talk about. Now you can clap. I'm okay with that. Yeah. So second one is, the second one for that is, yes, one way we always think of it is how do we ensure the data privacy is well taken care of. And one case is already happening recently. For example, if you are a regular shopper on Smytten, for example, and she's not, and I know she's on common platform, I give her better offers than you. Now, it somewhere is leading to the privacy problems. And a lot of people have objected to that in the market now. So that is the data privacy angle to that. I'm adding an example wherever I can at this moment. The third part to this whole story is that if we are ensuring that this information is going out to anyone, is it a signal that somebody is picking up or it is a noise? And classic case for us is somebody, gummy as a category or as a format, came in, it was a signal that is doing well. I know some people have invested heavily behind it, but it was just a signal. It was not. It was a noise. It was just came as a signal, but became a noise, and it's a loss making after that. So all of these things have to be well taken care of before somebody actually goes all out to use it. And these are dilemmas as somebody who's providing service to clients, trying our best to ensure that they get the best out of it, so they can just take decisions. They don't have to come back and doubt what we are doing. This is what we go through all the time. This is the summary format. I've kept time on mind.
Yeah. Okay, Dixit.
That's lovely. 3 minutes.
I know we are drawing attention to the time, and we do hope that time reduces as we go through the chain.
Shall I start?
Yes. So give me a little bit of how you look at joy or dilemma, and maybe just let me turn it a little bit. Are you more on the joy side or the dilemma side?
I think it's a very good question, Chandan, and I think I'll take some real ground level examples that we have felt over the last 6 months or 1 year of talking to clients and agencies. For example, joys and dilemmas can also be dependent upon which side of table we are sitting in. So let me take an example of a startup who is strapped for timelines and money. So when we take a DIY platform to them, they said, wow, this is a brilliant thing, because today I can run the research on my own. I can plan my expenses accordingly, and this is giving me a lot of power, right? Technology is a gift for me. But when I take the same to a large FMCG client who has, big, insights budget, big team, somewhere the response was, hey, we do not want our research teams, insights team to spend their time and energies on research execution. We need them to spend time on analysis and insights. And they felt, this is a kind of something which is not going to work for us, right? So in both the cases, technology is the same, but the table that we are sitting on is different. So for one, technology is giving them empowerment, and for other, technology is a distraction. And I think, this is something that we face with, if I do a client segmentation, I think these are the things that we are clearly coming up with, right? I think apart from that, some of the points that my co-panelists have, said, so I'll not repeat those. But I think 4 things which I see that, which is going to drive the future of our insights industry in the age of this technology. I think first point is, we will have to continue, the future of insights industry is not about adapting to just technology. It is about continuing our investment to create and develop human intelligence, right? For example, all of us use Google Maps, right? And I'm saying this because I spoke to a lot of young researchers in the last few days in this context, and a lot of them told me that, hey, life have improved a lot. It is so easy to give top lines to the clients because we can use so many analysis platforms. Top line is ready in an hour, and we are sending this out, right? But I think it's very, very important because many of them would be sitting there or the message will go out to them. As we use Google Maps, a lot of times we see it's a great platform, right? Everybody has used that. But a lot of times we see that the Google Map is taking us to under construction flyovers, dead-end roads. And we have all seen what kind of accidents that can happen. So the point I'm making is if we are not going to use our human judgment, we will, it will be a disaster. So we cannot rely just on AI. We will have to use our human intelligence, and for that, we will have to invest on that. And I think somewhere the message from those young researchers was that we are not getting clear clarity from the industry, from our respective organizations in terms of how to use AI, where AI can help us run fast, and where we need to say, hey, now stop. This is a time for human intelligence, right? So that's one point. A second point which I see, which is going to be also very important, is about localization of technology. A lot of our REST tech platforms, or what we call AI platforms, are primarily for English. I know some of those have started Hindi and some of the other key languages also, but in India, millions of consumers in the smaller towns, rural, speak in their own language, own dialect. If you're not going to understand that, there is a great chance that we are going to miss out on a strong consumer insights that are going to have a business impact. So if AI has to work in India, which it has, it will have to do a lot of localization, and a lot of technology people are sitting here. So the message is that we need to invest on those because it is not an option anymore. It is essential. And if, as I said, if AI doesn't speak a language of consumers, we are missing out on insights. That's number 2. Number 3, how do we separate noise and substance, right? So what is noise? Today, for example, somebody yesterday was telling me that MRSI annual seminar, I'm sorry, I'm taking a little more time. I have, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so yesterday somebody was telling me that, hey, we had used to have 200 people 8-10 years back, 3-4 stalls, but now for every small thing there is a solution. For scripting, for DP, for opponents, everything there is a company which is selling ours, right? So there is so much of noise there, and which is confusing us. So substance is, how do we filter out from those noises and come to meaningful insights? So the fact is, we need to decide what are we chasing? What is an important question that we have in mind? As of now, there can be cases where we see, oh, this much is the data available to us. Now look at what do we need to find out. Instead of we need to go to, hey, these are the questions that I have. Let's look at the data from that perspective. And within this all noise, there is going to be a lot of interesting and exciting data. But we need to separate the interesting data out of the important data, and that's how we will be able to balance the noise and substance. Okay. And fourth point, last point, which is actually, I think, which is very, very important for everybody sitting in this room, is that we are an industry which is selling ourselves on CPI, cost per interview. And I know a lot of people are not happy about this, but this has continued for last 40, 50 years when we have started. It actually means that we are not promoting innovation. Yes, methodologies, designs are important, but in the end, we get a call from the procurement team, which says, hey, 700, 680, 720, that's kind of things happen, right? I think with technology, the cost of data collection and processing perhaps will come down, will not go up, and after that, it will leave a lot of time for researchers to spend more time on insights. So can we now look at, in the future, I know immediately don't have the answer for that, but can technology bring out a new currency through which we can start looking at value of the project on the business impact rather than on input cost, which is, hey, this is the cost, divide by 0.40 to come out with 60% GM rate. Okay, now send the cost. Right? So these are the 4 points, I think, which if we can address, technology can be a great thing for us and remove dilemmas.
So interesting to see how you're also seeing it in a new paradigm of how we can relook at other aspects, including costs, including other aspects.
Yeah.
Moving over to you, Subhranshu, I mean, you sit at the heart of so much of data. I mean, your data is just really huge, big, and you have multiple sources of data. You're using a lot of technology. You're using a lot of insights. How do you really see this balance coming through?
I think all of us in this room will definitely agree with what I'm saying. Any category you work for, if the core is strong, and if the core innovates, the category does well. What's the core of this room? Insight. I think the key word in that topic is insight. So I'll have 4 points to make. First, while we are now blessed with AI, and there is so much info from which to dig the nugget out from, which we didn't have earlier, the challenge is now to us keep training ourselves and all our teams on, so what is insight? Do people like Chandan, the point you made, we have data, information, knowledge, insight. And a lot of people sort of confuse on what exactly is insight. For me, insight is the motivation that changes behavior. That's my definition of insight. So are we really sort of using AI to do that better, in my view? So the joy and the dilemma therein. Secondly, the way we collect data, we talk to people, more and more, and I'm sure all of us are realizing that it has to be in what they are comfortable with, in their natural habitat. Example, and we were just doing this large thing in rural that we are planning. Guess what they do in the rural places? They are watching what? YouTube shorts and reels, right? So my challenge is, if I use AI and tech, why can't the questionnaire be a reel? Why should the questionnaire be a questionnaire, right? Can it be in the form of a reel? And obviously, voice to text. So no typing, no touching, nothing. You are just, the consumer is saying something in the form of a reel and scrolling, and each scroll is the next question. Why can't that be possible? So how do we collect data? That's the dilemma. Thirdly, and we heard it a lot, I think both the Z presentations had it, how do you go hyper-local and specific inciting in the many Indias we have heard of? One of the very interesting things we do in Airtel is we talk to what we call our feet on street. And we see them as a great, great source of local insights. And how do you have a system using tech and AI to get those local insights into your machine? So whenever you are getting a business problem and you are saying, ye char state samajhna hai. So what the folks who are working day in, day out and meeting your customers every day, what are their distillation? So my fiber executive who goes out to sell broadband, my CRO who is selling in my stores, my customer relations officer, what are they saying from what they are hearing from what the customers are talking about? How does that also dovetail back? And now it's completely possible. So why can't we create dashboards where all this also feeds into the brief? And I think the last thing I'll talk about is the key is now moments, right? Everyone knows the funnel, top of funnel, but middle of funnel and bottom of funnel. The moment when the behavior change happens, how does one keep teasing and digging out the key trigger of that moment? And for that, of course, AI helps. You do your questioning and searching, and AI does throw out answers at you. But then again, it cannot ever really tell you, if you say this performance marketing, digital, creative like this, it will have a better CTR. AI can't do that, beyond a point. So how does the human then train ourselves and our minds to distill what's beyond AI? So I think, in a way, I don't think any of our jobs are threatened at all. How do we accept this and then move? It's like you said that, I think Vijay said, computers, and I was in that age when computers came in and we were like, oh, we are not going there. That's for those fellows, not us. So the same thing, there's no escaping AI. How do we train our minds to start now going beyond what AI is telling us? I think, and therein lies the joy and the dilemma. The joy of having so much, the dilemma of what do I choose and how sharp do I get?
Wow, so that's the joy of having so much and the dilemma of what exactly to choose. So I will sort of also, in the interest of time and in the age of technology, I would just say, if you could come up with one line as an advice, just one line. In the era of technology, we need to be really there with one line of what would you think is the best way to navigate this joy and dilemma. You know, one of the frameworks that I have kind of, yeah. Okay.
Hello.
We do it the other way around. But one of the frameworks, that I have found to be sometimes quite relevant and, in line with what you have said, of course, human at the core and then technology to enhance effectiveness, efficiency, speed, quality, time, depending on it, is, what is the decision we want to take? Based on the decision you want to take, and today data points are many, no one piece of data can give you any understanding. So therefore, joining up different pieces of data, information, insight, based on the decision that you will take, using technology, of course, but remaining still human at the core, could give you a good sense of what you want to take. There would be some cases where you want to take a decision and you would go in it in a certain way, and in another case with another context, a different decision, you might want to do something more foundational, more fundamental. So just a one-line advice to everyone, starting with Subhranshu.
I'm just borrowing from one of the favorite brand taglines that I love. AI के साथ जीत है. AI डर के आगे जीत नहीं है. AI के साथ जीत है.
AI के साथ चलते हैं.
So just one line, the future of insight is not AI instead of humans, it is AI with humans. So I think we need to make a balance between human judgment and technology, and then we are good to go. Thank you.
AI will take care of basics. It's a more interesting phase. We all should be more excited about what's coming next. It will make us think harder, better, and go us even faster.
Okay. It's advice, right? It was one-line advice.
One line.
So one-line advice from I would say is take a break from the screen and read. Just strengthen your concepts. That nobody can take away your mind from you.
That's a great one, Soumya. So my one line will be, let AI become the exoskeleton to HI, which is the endoskeleton.
I think Soumya said we are a sandwich with two clients on either end. Soumya, the most interesting part of a sandwich is the part in the middle. Having said that, I would stick to explore, inquire sharply with all the ethical, and evolve. And the whole industry will grow.
Well, very good. Thank you, everyone. Well, what about me is, it seems to me more like a joy than a dilemma. Yeah, it is a big joy to have technology on your side, to be able to use it well, to be able to leverage the power of technology, as long as you understand what you're using it for, how you're using it, and why you're using it. And then it no longer is a dilemma. It's the way you embrace it, and it's a joy at the end. I mean, without technology, with so much data, we would not be able to even scratch the surface. With so much technology, we are barely scratching the surface. Without it, we would be just lost. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for this audience, which was so patient. Do we have time for questions?
Yes, Chandan, I'm here to hand over some of the questions to you. We'll take a few questions. I know you've short over time, but this is super interesting. So the question is, there was a great point made on the bastardization of agility. While there are those who push back on the immediate delivery requirements, there are those who are ready to do so. And also the marketeers, under pressure to do AI and do it quick, accept it. So since this is an industry forum, would love to hear from the panel on what can be done to preserve this focus on using AI plus HI and also account for the time and cost that goes into it.
Okay, maybe Sharmila.
I'll
but
start.
Try to keep your answer short, given the timing.
I'll start. I think every client should use a lot of AI because the outputs are really fascinating. And the outputs look, so actionable. So they will be actionable till they are not. And we will know it only when we have really used it well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody else want to comment on that?
Wants to? Can you repeat the question maybe a little bit?
Second part of the question.
Okay. Since this is an industry forum, would love to hear from the panel on what can be done to preserve the focus on using HI plus AI, which is what all of you are saying, and account for the time and cost as well.
So if the question is...
We are trying to.
Sorry.
That's why we are sitting here.
Preserving the use of HI.
Yeah,
and
so
AI.
to answer that part of the question, and I'll give it to whoever on this side, because this side hasn't got as much words as, let's say. AI helps in reducing words, but that's what we are trying to sandwich in between, trying to preserve HI and AI. This industry is trying to preserve HI and AI.
And just to add, in order to preserve AI and versus HI that you mentioned about, I think we need to be, our researchers need to be more curious because a lot is changing at the ground level. And I think they need to travel a lot to meet the consumers in general. I saw a lot of people yesterday, met a lot of people yesterday, and old conventional researchers, and they were still going in the evening to meet the consumers. And the best part was, we get a lot of data in our offices, but the the learnings that we get after meeting our consumers is very, very different. I think somewhere within this AI thing and a lot of pressure on the projects, the travel has come down, and I think this is something that we need to maintain for traveling and be curious and get answers from the consumers directly.
Yeah, just add
Just
that.
a quick one, sorry.
Sorry.
Just a quick one. Please remember there are many other eyes that human beings have. Keep that in mind. This is artificial, whatever. AI is AI. We have intuition. We have imagination. Who will replace that? Yeah? Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I just want to say when you normally throw data into one of the AI tools, what comes out is really not insightful at all. You know, it takes the HI to work with that and make it better. And the AI gets better, and then the HI evolves to ask more intelligent questions, as some of the panelists have said. So it's always HI plus AI.
Wonderful, thank you. One more question. Research requests assume that fast will also be cheap. It is usually the other way around. From the clients on the panel, how do we change this to maintain the level of innovation and value? From the agency experts, from your experience, what has worked? Can you share some success stories?
Okay, let me take a crack at that. So fast and cheap. I think Soumya mentioned something which I completely agree with. She said a lot of our young people, are coming in, and how do we give them meaningful jobs? And I've come back to India after 19 years, and we are doing a lot of things exactly the same way like we did before. There are Excel sheets after Excel sheets, maybe 17 rows and thousands of columns, and Saurabh, who's sitting here, probably has one of those master sheets. And the amount of data we're getting today is a crazy multiple of what it was when I left India. And therefore, we owe it to ourselves and our young people in our industry to use technology to just make that simpler so that they can use their intelligence, their curiosity to come up with better insights. You're not going to be able to manage that with the amount of data that we have today. So I think, that's the part where, things can be faster, but that doesn't mean that we have a choice of just limiting it. In terms of research, I would say that, some of the timelines that we are working with have just changed. And the important question to ask is not how fast the research can be done, but how important it is for my insight to make an impact on that decision before it is made. I don't know how fast Airtel runs their ads, but I can imagine before, Subhranshu's had breakfast, they've come out with 3 different ads. We do about 400 digital ads every month. Could I preview all of them? Soumya wishes, right? I couldn't possibly watch all of them. So if I don't use technology to make sure that the principles and the learning that we have gets translated into business impact, I will not be part of that discussion over time. So it's not a choice, and we shouldn't focus on the cost. We should focus on the impact that we can make.
I have a different, we have to focus on the cost. No, we have to focus on the cost for sure. Yeah, no, I can have all the mics, yeah. No, see, technology, yes, has a cost. So the way I see right now is, technology, as I said earlier, will solve the basics of everything. But people who want to hire, because data and insights are very, very different. Insights will come from human itself. And all young researchers in the room, as somebody said, will have to train themselves a lot more than what they've trained themselves in the past. A fresher cannot be a researcher, which has been the case in the past. It's almost like being a doctor going forward. So for all the input going in from their side, they're going to be more expensive. Ideally, we should pay them a lot more to give them the right insights, which would mean cost, which will be on the system, for which clients should ideally pay more. If you agree, I think we've done justice to this panel today. Yeah? This 85% of people are actually service providers.
So I have one point. Nothing on cost. We'll take that separately. This whole thing about fast. What is fast? I think, like in Airtel, we really force the originator of the brief to think hard on what do you want. Many times, a lot of briefs are maybe not sharp enough. We push, we say, "Adha din zyada lagao." I really need to know what you want to know, that you don't know now. Even that interrogation, I'm talking to the client folks here, if you do that internally, that itself crunches timelines. Because many times they say, "Mujhe ye do cheezein janni hai, moti baat yahi hai." Then you know that, okay, I'm not running after 30 questions. I just need to land these two well, and then those two can be deep. You can really then, peel the onion on those two. So I think it's up to us on how we handle this. Do it quicker. Nothing on costs.
Maybe we can end if there are no more questions. I just have to, I know it's a tricky thing. Nobody wants to touch upon you did it, thank you. But honestly, it's for us, the industry, not the clients, to think about costs. Because for them also, the value is a problem for them also. The consumer has to buy at that price. That's why you have got a wheel and a surf. So it's for us on how we drive our value up the ladder, how we demonstrate impact, so that they are forced to pay for insights. I think it's on us on what we do with the industry going forward. And a lot of the young people sitting in this room is not going to be easy, because technology and AI makes the cost of data cheaper. It's a reality. We have to add value to it and show the value we bring on the table and charge money for it. And as much as I want, in the lowest cost market in the world, in the least penetrated market in the world, and I keep crying over it in every global call that I go to, but I can't help it. That's the reality. So let's change the reality, and I think that's a good note to end with.
That's it. No more questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, super. Thank you, everyone on this panel for your very insightful thoughts, around this whole topic. It seems to me that, it's more a joy than a dilemma, but I think using it well, looking at it, how can we enhance, how can we get value, how can we really create better impact as an insights community, as a research community, and overall as a generating demand community. I think there is a huge scope and potential for us to really leverage the power of insights and data. Thank you so much for all your time this afternoon, and thank you for being a very patient audience.